All right, guys, welcome to the Explore series. I'm really excited to get to do this one today because it's Student Takeover, which I've been looking forward to since we started this series. Before we go too far, though, let me introduce myself. My name is Tori. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at Johnson. Most of the time, this person that's doing all the talking is a cool dude named Ryan McDaniel, but he is off gallivanting this week, so I'm here instead to hang out with you guys and answer all your questions, which is going to be great. So today, as I said, is a student takeover. The whole point of today is for you guys to see what it's really like to be a student living on campus at Johnson and all the fun adventures you can get into and all the cool spaces that we have for students to study and live and meet people and make friends. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to see campus from this very unique perspective. So I want Taryn and Kayla to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about where they're chilling out at. So Taryn, you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Taryn Cunningham. I am in the ARC, which is the Athletic Recreational Center. And yeah, this is the place that I like to chill, so I am here.
Awesome. And Kayla?
Yeah, my name's Kayla. I'm a rising senior, and I am outside by the pond at Johnson. It's very peaceful out here and really pretty, and just a nice place to sit and think. And there's always seems to be a breeze here too. So
I love that. And I'm here in my office where all the magic happens, right? All right, so I'm going to switch back to Taryn here. If you would, tell us a little bit about the ARC and why it's your favorite spot.
Yeah, so the ARC is one of my favorite places because you have an array of things to do. There is basketball courts over this way. Yeah, basketball courts over here. Then you've got a weight room. And then during the school year, there is some areas to study here. We also have something that we do every year, which is kind of like a talent show. And this is where we did it last year. It was a lot of fun. We set up chairs all right here and got to cheer on some of our friends with the different talents that they had, whether it was like comedy or singing, anything like that. And then during the school year, through these windows, generally this is all open seating, and here we have habaneros and Starbucks. And we also have sports playing up here sometimes as well. There's also a swimming pool, and probably one of the unexpected, really fun things that you could even find at like a summer camp would be this room right here. We've got pool tables, you've got all kinds of things going on here, ping pong, another TV to turn on sports. And then you always get your friends when you walk right in. There's always a work study position right here. So this is definitely my favorite place on campus for an array of reasons.
I love that. That's awesome. All right, Kayla, tell me all about the pond and why it's your favorite spot.
yeah, so we have the pond right here in the middle of campus. I'm gonna turn the camera around. It's so pretty. We have some benches around. Here's the bench I'm sitting on. Right underneath this beautiful willow tree. Across the little pond, we have our monopteron, I believe it's called, which is also another nice place to sit. I just love sitting out here because obviously you have very beautiful views, always a breeze, like I said. You can see the little koi fish swimming around. And for me, this is just a really peaceful place to sit and pray or just sit and unwind if I've had a stressful week. Or if I'm just unwinding before I want to socialize. It's right here in the middle of campus, so there's always somebody to then run into after sitting for a while.
I love that. That is awesome. So I really love, you can really see the fish today, which is great. I love seeing the fish too. One of my other favorite things is during the early and mid-spring, you can see turtles that'll come up on the rocks and come hang out a little bit and get some sun, get some warm on their bodies, which is nice. And so they're so cute. I take pictures of them all the time. Awesome. So these are two really great spaces on campus. The pond is right outside of the Eubanks Activity Center, which is where I'm chilling out at today. And so it's really great to get to walk outside and see that. And then getting to go up to the Arc and have habaneros or get a coffee and just hang out is always something that I look forward to as well. So I wanted to ask you guys, for some students that are listening, where would you want to go on campus outside of your dorm room to study? Maybe you like noise, maybe you like quiet. You know, where would be the best place for you to go personally to study? And maybe where would you want to go if you really liked background noise or really needed quiet spaces?
I can go ahead and go first again. So I personally love the ASC, which is in Richardson Hall. It's the Academic Support Center. The reason that I love it there is because when you're writing a paper, you have somebody there to kind of review it with you, check it for grammatical errors, check it for content, and then be able to turn it in at the end of the week and feel really, really confident in what you're turning in because you've had somebody else lay eyes on it. There's space in there for conversation and catching up with friends when you're kind of doing light homework, but then there's also space in there to have your friends practice with you with memorization. And the reason that I highlight that is because memorizing with people, when you're able to either teach it to them or be the receiving of that teaching in a friend setting, it's really, really beneficial for retention. And then also in the ASC, you have the computer room, which is off to the side past Kelly Estes' office and past the secretary right there. There's a little computer space and it's really quiet in there. You can take your tests in there, and then also you can go in there when there's no test being taken and just use it for quiet space if you need to separate yourself from any conversation with friends and distractions and things like that.
That's awesome. What about you, Kayla?
For me, if I want quiet study where I have to like seriously focus on what I'm studying, I like to go to the library. There's a lot of little like nooks and desks you can sit on all three levels of the library. And it's just a really nice quiet place for when I need to very intensely focus on what I'm studying. But if I want to study with friends and like goof off in between, or I need like group study to help me with the information, I'll either go to the underground or the Arc. Most of my years here, we did not have the Arc, so I always went to the underground to study. But as the Arc's been open this past year, we've kind of migrated up there, kind of in that room Taryn was showing where the talent show is, that the student hangout. That's all. It's a good place to study in the evenings and to get homework done with some friends. So those are my two favorite spots for studying.
That is awesome. And for those of you who may not have known, when we've done some virtual tours and stuff, you can see the underground in those. It's actually right underneath where I'm sitting in the Eubanks Activity Center. You go downstairs. There's two rooms. One is the underground, which has a Starbucks in it. And then the other room off to the side is what we call the TV room. And it's just full of couches and lounge chairs and tables. It is a really great study space. Very, very commonly used for that. And it's also used for really fun things too, like karaoke, and trivia nights and that kind of stuff too. So really fun event space. And then right next door to those things, you also have the River Grill, which is another restaurant on campus, which is open for late night food. So you can go there to study, grab a coffee when you get started, grab a quesadilla on your way to the dorm, and you'll be doing great. It's good stuff. Yeah. So I know that there's a lot of different prayer rooms on campus and lots of different little quiet spaces to kind of find your center and come to a quiet space where you can pray and you can study the Bible and have maybe a quiet time or a devotion just with yourself. Where are your guys' favorite places to do that around campus?
I can start with this one. So my first spot would again be here because it's nice and peaceful and the breeze always helps. My other outside spot is just up the hill behind the library. Actually, we have this quiet space called, I'm forgetting the actual name of it, but it's just a nice place to sit. There's a prayer oak right down the way, which is a really nice place to just be in nature and to just have a sense of peace for a while. If I want to be inside somewhere, I think I'm it's called Shiloh at the Heights, on the Heights, sorry. If I want to be inside somewhere, I think I'm probably going to steal Taryn's right now because I've heard her talk about it before. But at the top of Richardson Hall, there is a prayer room up there, and they have a lot of things to talk about some of our alumni serving in missions around the world, which is nice for guided prayer things. And there's also just a really nice scenery where if you go in the evenings, the sunlight hits just perfect. And so that's my favorite inside place for quiet time and prayer time.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely echo Richardson Hall. To highlight something a little bit different for quiet time, prayer, there are, like you said, Tori, so many places on campus for prayer. I think for more of like a meditative kind of silence, I want to, let me switch around the camera. So this is the weight room. This is not the meditative silence I'm talking about, obviously, but just to quickly highlight what we have going on in here, this is fantastic, and hopefully, good, we're clear. So this is the bar room, and you've got a mirror here if you like to do yoga or anything like that. There are classes that are periodically throughout the year, depending on if we have somebody who can do yoga here. I know that we had that partially last year before she had to leave, but I love this space because you can control the lighting. So you can come over here and you can control the lighting and kind of dim it to the point where you can even play. I sometimes will close the door, and I won't do it for too long because I don't want to act like this space is all mine, right? But I will sometimes shut the door for maybe about 15 minutes. People can still come in, but I like to just shut the door and just play my phone music out loud with some meditative music, grab a yoga mat, and just sit in here and stretch and be silent. And so, yeah, this would be one of the great rooms.
That's awesome. So I actually use the yoga room for that as well. There was a time that I was in there and I was doing yoga and I had finished and I was, doing a little bit of meditation at the end. And after, if you've not been in the room or you have not been moving in the room for a long time, the lights in there are actually automatic too. They'll just shut off to save energy. And so I was already in like a meditative state and the light shut off and I was like, oh yes, this is perfect. And then someone came in actually on a tour group to come in and I was just chilling and they were like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. But people are in there all the time. And so I think it's a great place to go and meditate, but also it's great because
Taryn, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
So where's your favorite place on campus to just hang out with people? Not really doing homework, but just hanging out and doing fun stuff.
I would say on campus, I would say the Arc. I mean, when you come to Habaneros, you're bound to sit down at a table where maybe you have one friend and then you end up making 5 other friends. And I really, really enjoy that about the Arc. And then also something else that's kind of fun here is if you get around the right crowd of people, you can even come over here and like do some training in this room right here, which is, I think it's like a indoor soccer field you got in here. And so sometimes I've seen they have like a tire in there. And so, yeah, I think the Arc is really, really cool for that purpose because it's a place where everybody kind of congregates and joins the community, and no matter what anybody's doing, everybody's just kind of open to let you join in or to join in whatever you're doing. So yeah, the Ark. What about you?
My favorite place is also probably the Ark, but my second favorite is usually like in the lobbies of the dorms, just getting together with a group of friends, especially during like October, and watching like funny Halloween movies that aren't that scary, and just like making popcorn and hanging out with friends, and just, yeah, having a good time in the lobby is really fun too. What's been one of your funniest like times with friends on campus?
Ooh, that's a good question. I will say this, and it may have been one that you said too, but we have this thing that goes on in the galley, not the galley, the galley. I said it wrong for quite some time until somebody corrected me, but doesn't matter. But there's this thing where someone will just start clapping, and then you see a whole table clapping. Then everybody in the galley starts clapping, and no one knows why we're clapping, but we're all clapping together for no apparent reason. Sometimes it's because a game was won, and sometimes it's just for no reason at all, or at least we don't know what it is. So I would say that's probably one of the funniest and consistently funny things that happens on our campus. It's almost an inside joke, I think, for us.
Yeah, that is a good one. That's a really good one. My favorite is probably always like events. Any event we have on campus, I feel like somebody always does something that's like kind of dumb, but so funny. So like at our orange and black event, we did that little game where you have a donut on a string, and like just trying to watch people eat a donut off a string without touching it was like just hilarious to watch. Like it's always like something good like that, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, that is awesome. You know, when you were talking about a place to watch a movie, I thought about the underground and how awesome it is when you get like a big group of people in that room, and you're able to like watch a movie together. And I mean, you could fit probably about 20 people in there or more. And I really like that for a good place to watch a movie too.
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
So Kayla, what are some of your favorite classes that you have had since being here at Johnson?
That I've had. So last semester I took a class on Psalms, the book of Psalms, and that was such an interesting class to me. It really challenged me in the best way possible. Just learning more about how to talk to God honestly, and incorporating the way David prayed into my prayer life was really awesome. And that's for my Bible and theology. I think for my specific major, psychology major, my favorite class so far has been the theories of counseling and psychotherapy. That class is taught by Josh Fish. She is one of my favorite professors. And in that class, we just got to learn like a lot about the history of psychology and different ways and different theories that we can apply into our future career. And it was just so interesting to learn, and something that like I know is very important to my education for my future career. So that was definitely one of my favorite classes. What about you?
So good. Yeah, Josh Fish is fantastic. He actually does at one of the churches here locally, he does one of the small like college Bible studies. And so unfortunately I haven't been able to take a class with him yet, but I do that Bible study with him every Sunday at the church that I go to. And he really leads us into some places that involve a lot of thinking, you know, like we were able to pray for each other. We're able to think about the things that are mentioned in the Bible that deserve more thought and life application. And I really enjoy his presence and his vibrancy. The guy is so funny. Let's see, the classes, I'm going into my second year. With transfer credits, it's technically my junior year, but um, I I think there's things about the classes that are fantastic, and I love them. And although this isn't the question, I have to say the professors really make each class like beautiful. And that may sound really cheesy, but thinking about Old Testament with Sue Stratton, she did Jeopardy prior to our midterms and had the whole class, just the energy in the classroom was good, healthy competition. And then it was also a lot of like rooting each other on. And she puts us in groups where we have the opportunity to just build in with the people that are in our class that maybe we didn't sit next to, or maybe we didn't have a chance to study with. So we get to know our people a little bit better. And then she bakes brownies and brings brownies. And she is not the only professor either that like prays before tests and prays for us, before class starts. So there is something, in a general sense, there is something to take from each class. Because of the professors. The professors just make it so much of a better experience than I think I could have anywhere else for me personally.
Well, I think Zoom knew that this is a student takeover and I'm no longer a student because it kicked me out. So it said, you're not a student. You don't get to be here. But I'm back. And it sounds like you guys are talking about your favorite classes and your favorite professors. Am I right? Pretty close? Okay, sweet. Well, I have a question that actually came from a student that I've worked with in the past that was really worried about being able to make friends on campus. They didn't know whether they would feel like they were able to make friends. And so would you guys have some advice on maybe where to go or what to do, or how did you guys make friends on campus? How did you guys find your people?
Kayla, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So for me, my first year at Johnson actually was a little rough because I didn't make friends. And looking back from my freshman year now going into my senior year, I realized like a large part of that was because I didn't really lean into the community. I kind of isolated myself and just stuck with my roommate and my one other friend from my hometown. And I didn't really get out and meet people. And so it was a really isolating experience. But coming back to Johnson, I learned very quickly that if you lean into the community and you explore what the community has to offer, it will definitely embrace you and you'll make so many lifelong friends. So my best advice for doing that, for making friends and getting into the community, is just plug in. Find your spot on campus. We have a lot of different organizations on campus, like the Student Government Association, students promoting social unity, Harvesters, which is a club based on missions, things like that. We have a couple different ones too. And just finding your place with a club like that, or going to your hall devos or things like that, that's the best first place to start with leaning into your community.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think like depending on the person you are coming in, you will find plenty of people to connect with on campus. When you step on campus here, there's just openness, honesty, and there's a lot of people that just, we all want to be here. And so it is almost immediately that you make friends. And I think the first thing that I would say is don't worry about it if there's people that are afraid of the possibility that they won't make friends. On the other side of that, if you're someone like myself and you like alone time and you almost miss out on your community because you like to be alone, and maybe you're an introvert or a homebody or whatever, I want to echo what Kayla says, is leaning into your community is really, really important. And also learning to, when you're planning your week and when you're time managing, put in there, even if it's just coffee with one person, It is so, so vital that when you come to this college, it is not only to build into your education, which will build into your vocation and your future, but to build into yourself. Like, you're coming here to break your flesh and to break the character flaws that honestly, friendships will bring those out, you know, with stress and with things like that that are natural to happen in college. Your friends tend to be those types of friends that are like, hey, I sense that you're stressed. How can I help? And those friendships and those relationships are so vital, not only for survival here on campus, but for support. Like, you want those friendships. And so I think a well balance between your personal time and making time for other people and being really intentional about that is the most important thing, no matter where on the spectrum you land. If you're one who's introvert or extrovert, making time to have both, to have your alone time, and then also to make sure that you make time for your community here.
That's amazing. I love that. And I'm going to follow up with something that Taryn said, because that was one of my next questions, is college can be really stressful. You know, you have a lot of classes, you got lots of stuff going on. Maybe you're also working a job. Maybe this is the first time you're living away from home. You know, so how do you guys, you know, when we talk about managing stress for college students, we always talk about, you know, all the resources we have and like the counseling center and the academic support center and all of these things. But how does actually using those help you guys? And what else do you do that maybe we don't always talk about?
I can start with this one. I'm not gonna pretend like it's easy to manage stress in college. There are so many new things your freshman year, and it's just a change in your lifestyle, and so it is really hard to adjust and get used to the new stresses. But using the resources we have is really important. For me, using the University Counseling Center was really helpful in me just managing what it looks like to go through a lifestyle change, the new emotions I was experiencing, finding my counselor there. And if you're a student of Johnson, you can get counseling for free at the UCC. That was really important to me, just finding a person that I can talk to about what I'm going through. That was very important. And then also just time management. Time management is a word we all use that is not easy to do. But being very, very on top of that is really important. Using a planner, I love my planner. I make it personalized and pretty so that I actually use it. But doing things like that, and the ASC, Academic Support Center, Taryn can talk a lot about that, but that's a really important tool that I like to use as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the ASC is fantastic place. There's no shame in going there if you need help to, review a paper. Even if you feel super confident about it, chances are you could miss a period, somewhere, or spell a word wrong, not because you don't know how to spell it, but just because you typed it in wrong. So I think that being humble enough, or just doing it, you can just email the papers and then go pick them up on your way to class the next day. So the ASC is fantastic place. I would also say the professors here have a strong desire to disciple. And I'm not necessarily saying on a weekly meet with them for coffee way. I'm saying the casual walking by their office and sitting in and talking with them and using them as a resource, not only in the realm of academia, but also in just spiritual health, to make sure that you are the best version that you could be for that day. And so I think taking advantage, in a good way, taking advantage of the professors having pretty much an open door policy and open office hours, taking advantage of that. Even if you're just going in and you're saying like, hey, I have a B and I really want an A, or I'm really struggling, I have a C- and I don't want to, have to retake this class. So the professors here are just so fantastic, and they want to see us succeed. And that effort and that it takes to go to their office and to say, hey, I want to improve, can you just help me? They appreciate that, and they will definitely always give advice, or always give you extra tips on ways to study better or anything like that. So I would say a good resource is just building in with the professors.
I love that. That is so true. Because, at the end of the day, college is stressful, trying to balance all those classes and all your time and also your friend time. And because you want to have fun and, meet people and become who you're going to be. So balancing all those things can be really stressful. And so having resources that we do have on campus, like the counseling center, like the academic support center, and just like our professors who are so willing, they're there to help you succeed. That's what they want. No one's out to get you. No one's rooting against you. Everyone here is rooting for you, and we want to see you learn and succeed and be better, which I think is something so beautiful about our community. And with that being said, that's kind of wrapped up all the questions that I had, except for this last one, which is, working in admissions, we spend a lot of time trying to find answers to all the frequently asked questions to make sure all your questions are answered and you feel like you are ready to go when you're on campus. But we're also human and we may have missed some things. So I want to know what you guys as students maybe weren't expecting when you got to campus. Maybe there was something that you weren't prepared for. And if you could go back and do it all over again, what you would want to be prepared for, just to send some advice to some future students who will be coming. That way they're not unprepared either.
Kayla, you got anything?
I'm not really sure. I think, okay, I guess for me, it was just, I've always been like kind of an independent person growing up. And so I expected shifting from high school to college to be kind of a breeze and just like new and a few challenges, but I didn't expect it to be as hard as it was. And so my advice in that, it would be just to expect a level of uncertainty that just comes with change. Even if you're super independent in high school or you're super independent in life after high school, coming to college brings a lot of new challenges, a lot of new ways of living. And so my advice would be just to be ready for that, to expect a change in yourself personally and in the way you, in small things like the way you do homework, living with someone that you may have met before, but you may have not. There's a lot of small challenges that you're able to work through them, but just be expected for them to come.
I love that. Thank you. What about you, Taryn?
Yeah, that's great. I would definitely say, Kayla touched on it for a second there, your roommate situation. I think when we leave home, if we didn't grow up with brothers and sisters and stuff like that, living with somebody in one room, sharing one bathroom, can be a big difference. And so I think right when you go in, and RAs, my RAs, which Kayla was actually one of them, are pretty good about being like, hey, make sure that you guys set up who's going to do what, so that there's clear structure, so that you can build in with this person, so that this person's going to clean this before room checks, which the RAs come in once a week, and just make sure that it's tidy and that there's no rotten food underneath your bed or anything like that. Not a big deal. They just want to make sure that we're maintaining hygiene, which is very important. And so I would say being open and willing to be a little bit uncomfortable living with somebody. It's natural, and it prepares you for later on. I mean, you may have roommates later on in your life, or maybe you'll get married one day, and so it prepares you for that. And so leaning into how uncomfortable it can be and then working through that is super important, no matter what the relationship is with your roommate, making sure that you do your best before it comes up that you would choose a different roommate. So that would be the only thing. I guess Yeah, no, that would be it. I think when you come, the biggest thing too is just to be okay with the small failures. I myself dealt with, like, I'm here and I'm a little bit older, and so this is my own money and my own investment into my education, and so the first sign of failure, I just felt like a failure rather than seeing it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to work harder, and an opportunity to prove to myself that this was more than just getting a certain grade, getting a certain GPA, but it was more about what I'm learning and what I'm retaining and how I can use it in my life. That's what's more important. And so less focus on a certain grade, and more focus on what am I actually learning here. Let me just not pump out a paper or pump out a grade or earn a grade, but rather let me like retain what I'm doing here and make sure that I leave more educated. So yeah, I would say just be okay with the small failures too.
I love that. I think that's really true. For a lot of people, regardless of whether or not you maybe transferred in from a community college or a different college, or you're coming straight out of high school, or you took a gap year, you know, transitioning into a four-year college where you're living on campus and you're in this community and it's your life can be a big leap. It can feel like a big jump from where you were to where you're going. And when that happens, sometimes you might fail a little bit. There might be things in your life that don't go quite the way you expect. And I think knowing that, because you won't know what those are until they happen, but knowing that it could happen and knowing that you will be okay and you'll be better because of it is amazing advice. And so just being okay with the uncertainty and being okay with knowing that even if something does happen wherever you are, whether that's Johnson or some other college somewhere, we hope it's Johnson, of course, but no matter where you end up, that the community that you end up in will be there to pick you up when you fall. And that's what you want to know. And for me personally, I know that's true at Johnson. Students and faculty and staff will always pick you up. They will always be there for you when you need a hand. And when you, maybe if you don't feel like you need a hand, they're still there to give it to you when you need it. And so that's what I would want you to take away is that, even if you're not expecting something or you don't feel quite comfortable yet with being a college student, that your community will be there to walk you through it and walk with you through it the whole way until you graduate. And then you're off and ready to go and ready to face the real big world. So yeah, so thank you guys so much, Taryn and Kayla, for being here and for answering those questions. I feel like I know what it really means to be a Johnson student after this. And I feel like we really got to see a deeper look at how much professors care for students, especially, and all the beautiful spaces that there are on campus to just kind of be free and be yourself, and just the beautiful level of community that we can have here at Johnson. So yeah. This is one of our later Explore series videos, so we've got a few more coming up. Next week, we have the education department. So our friend, Dr. Melissa Drennan and Dr. Roy Miller will be accompanying us on a journey through our education program and learning what all of that looks like and all of the amazing opportunities for futures as a teacher and an educator in your world. So I hope you will return and join us for that next week. In the meantime, stay safe, and we'll see you here next Wednesday. Bye, guys.
Thanks.